Hi everyone, Angela here. Have you thought about how to set your table for the holidays? Why not make these festive Christmas tree napkins? Print the pattern at 100% letter size and check the scale, making sure that the square measures an inch on each page. Carefully cut out each piece and join together with tape. Make sure to wash, dry, and press your fabrics first. For 4 napkins, you'll need a yard of fabric, or you can use half a yard each of contrasting fabric. Place your pattern down without using any of the selvage edge of the fabric and carefully cut out. You can also fold your fabric so that you're cutting out multiple layers at once. Cut the 2 small notches at the bottom 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters on each piece. If you have directional fabric, you'll need to place your pattern down vertically. This triangle is the top of the Christmas tree, so you need the pattern to be running in this direction. You can add optional rickrack to the edge. The one I'm using is 1/2 inch or 12.7 millimeters wide. With right side up, turn your main piece so that the rounded edge is to the right. Cut the end of the rickrack on an angle, following the line of the top curve. Match the corner of the rickrack with the corner of the napkin and then pin or clip in place. If you need to, match the edges of the rickrack with the fabric and clip all around. At the end of the curve, cut the rickrack on the same angle. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use are in the description below. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. We'll first sew a holding stitch right at the bottom of these curves or valleys. Place this main piece on top of the contrast piece with right sides together, matching the edges and the notches. Clip at the notches and all around. Start by back tacking at this notch, stitch all around and back tack at the second notch, leaving an opening in between. Stitch with a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter seam allowance. When you get to the corner, stop just before that first stitch line. With needle down, lift your foot and pivot. We now want to stitch just to the left of that original stitch line. This will prevent the first stitch line from showing when we turn it right side out. Next, trim away the seam allowance from both corners on an angle, making sure not to cut the stitching. Roll the straight seam towards you, open up the layers, and press the seams open with your fingernail, or you can use a plastic pressing tool. Go through the opening and turn the napkin right side out. Pull out the rickrack at the corners, adjust your straight seam so that it's right in the middle, and press. Fold the seams in at the opening, making sure it's nice and straight. Give it a press and clip in place. For the curved edge, pull out the rickrack as much as possible and press on both sides. Next, grab a ruler and something pointy like an awl and score along the dotted line on the straight edge. Fold over along the dotted line. Next, score along the 3 dotted fold lines. Now crease along each of these lines, keeping that straight edge folded. Place the pattern on top of the napkin, matching all the edges. Fold along each fold line. Using chalk or a vanishing ink pen, mark a line on the fabric along each edge. Start by back tacking from the end of the opening, stitch to this point, pivot, and about 1/2 inch from the edge, back tack again. Skip over to this next line, back tack 1/2 inch from the edge, stitch up to the point, pivot, stitch down, and back tack again 1/2 inch from the edge. Now I'm stitching in white so that you can see, but make sure to match your threads to your fabric so that the stitch lines aren't obvious. These stitch lines will keep the 2 layers nicely together, and it'll also make it really easy to fold it into the Christmas tree shape. Turn over to the contrast side, fold along that first stitch line and press. Fold along the next stitch line in the opposite direction. Keep the top nice and pointy, and you'll notice that the side just sticks out a little bit. Press along this edge and then fold along the last stitch line in the opposite direction and then give it all a good press. You can also fold this tree the other way, starting with the contrast fabric. You'll notice the bottom curve is nice and symmetrical and not all lopsided. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to check out my video up next.